I have some questions I want to ask you. Now, you don't have to answer them out loud for me, but just answer them to yourself. Has there ever been a time when you felt not as confident as you'd like to be? Maybe it was at work. Like, you know, maybe it was a job promotion and you wanted it, but you weren't courageous enough to say, hey, I want to apply for that position. Or maybe it was at a social function where, you know, you kind of stood one spot, maybe watched everybody having a good time, but not participated, not spoke up. Somebody maybe there that you really wanted to get to know, but didn't have the courage to go and say hello. Maybe it was something else that you needed to talk about, to work, home, relationships, anything. Right now, when I used to go to functions, social gatherings, I used to be the wallflower. You know, I'd only speak to someone if they spoke to me, but I watched other people having a good time, and I really felt that I missed out on it because I used to be very shy and lacked confidence and courage to speak out. Right? But now, perhaps you would like to have an opportunity to, you know, to speak up, have that courage, that confidence, right, that we all need to have, and maybe have that person that we wanted to have in our life, maybe as a friend or maybe as a partner. Maybe we would even just have an opportunity to just get that job we want, and our life could have changed if we had had the courage to do those things before. I'll give you a little story about something that happened to me when I was young. When I was thinking about confidence and courage, going back into my life, one of the stories that sticks out for me, it was I think I was about 10, because it was myself and my sister and my brother. Some new people came to town. They were visiting my grandfather, and at that time, all the other kids were over playing, so we asked our parents, can we go play too? And our parents said, okay. But first we had to get cleaned up and put on our better clothes. Like, we couldn't go just as we were, so we weren't good enough to go out there, although I did make that psychologically and consciously on that psychologically. Then we went over, watched the kids play. My brother and sister was excited to go over, and we stood by the sidelines and we watched the kids play. I didn't have the confidence to say, can I play? Can we play? We stood there and waited for them to ask us to play. But they didn't ask us. So I'm holding my sister and brother's hand, and they would say, ask, can we play? And, you know, so I tried to ask, but the words would get stuck right in my throat here. They wouldn't come out. So we would wait a little while and wait a little while and ask again. Ask. Right, so this was going on. And my brother finally gave up and went home. In the meantime, I'm holding onto my sister's hand, and we're standing there watching the kids play. They're having a good time, and we're laughing and smiling at them. So finally, you know, the parents called the kids in to eat, so we left and went home. And then, of course, when we get home, the parent says, what's wrong with you? I thought you went over there to play. How come you guys didn't play? Well, nobody asked us to. Well, why didn't you ask to play? I don't know. But what? You stood there like idiots and didn't watch the play? You know? So anyway, that was, you know, I felt bad because my sister and my brother was kind of on me. I'm the eldest, and I didn't ask, and they missed out, I missed out. And many times throughout my life, there's been situations too that I missed out on. And many years ago, I started on a personal development journey, and I started reading books and doing and applying the things I thought, things I said. So I have come a long way. You know, one time if somebody had said, I said, if you're going to talk in front of somebody, I would say absolutely no way. I hated speaking at the school. If the teacher asked me a question, and if I knew the answer, I didn't want to say it because I was like, I just wouldn't come out. But lacking confidence in some areas of our life, maybe it's not all, but maybe just some areas, holds us back from enjoying the life that we can have. It just cripples us sometimes. And what I want to do with my business called Unique is I want to encourage people to take that step out and be the best that they can be, because we miss out on so much we miss out on. And so I met a gentleman recently. I met a gentleman recently, and he said that when he was young, died. So when he was young, he was at work. He worked for a newspaper, and one of the managers came in and said, "I need a volunteer." So he said, and he took him into this room and said, "You know, we had a fashion layout. This, you know, tell me what's wrong with this picture, right? And what's wrong with this layout?" And he said, "The photos are all wrong. I can do better than that." I said, "You can?" "Yes, I can." So he goes over, picks up the phone, makes a phone call, and he comes back to the guy and says, "Okay, you got the job." And so we practiced, and Nicholas, this was a gentleman, he looked at him and said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "I'll give you $300, you have a week." So at that time, he was only making $90 a week. So he thought this was exciting. He went home and said to his wife, he said, "I'm a photographer." So, you know, he was courageous, and he was confident, and he didn't know what he was getting into, but he jumped anyway. I wanted to be like that. Right? And as the story went, so he hired a few people, rented a studio, put on a great photo shoot, and then because his name was on the photos, he was getting lots of calls. So he went out and spent a week's salary to buy a used camera, and he started his photography business in the last 25 years. Okay? So that's pretty good. Then he was asked to speak to a photography group. I said, "Would you please talk and talk to them about photography?" So what am I going to talk to these people about for an hour about photography? I said, "All right, I got it. I'll talk for 55 minutes. 5 minutes on photography, 55 minutes on people connections." So at the end of his speech, people came up and said, "Can you talk to our group? You know, minus the photography." And that's great, he did. So he went home and told his wife, he said, "I'm a public speaker." So I was like, oh, I wanted to be like that. So now it's kind of like, I am going to now step up. When Jim called and said, "Do you want to speak?" I said, "Yep." Right, so taking on that new attitude. But yes, I'm going to jump in there. Right? And so anyway, since then he's written a book, and he's a published author, and he's a best-selling author too. So, you know, if he had not put up his hand when he was asked for that volunteer that day, what would his life have been like? He would not have been the same as today. So I encourage people to step forward, say, "Yeah, pick me." Because what's the worst thing that could happen? You have a lot to gain. Okay? So thank you for listening.